mainly focusing on promo videos and music videos, and I recently became an artist. Check out my EP.
I'm Mark Bellot, I'm a wedding photographer. I do wedding videography as well. Been in it for about 10 years now. And yeah, just here to support the cause.
So I'm going to be asking these high value men, these series of questions, maybe personal. Obviously, this is for you viewers, for me as well, trying to get advice, for all of us in general, trying to get advice on how to become a man, how to deal with business, finance, personal goals. So the first question I'll ask you is, what challenges did you face mentally and physically turning to a boy to a man?
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of challenges that I went through when I was young. You know, when I was in secondary, going from primary school to secondary school, you know, it did feel like sort of like a fairy tale land, you know what I'm saying? Like you're in your own sort of bubble thinking that the world's perfect and everything. But, you know, when it came to secondary school, you know, it got a lot more deeper, you understand? Like, and a lot of people can probably relate, you know, obviously not fitting in with certain people, obviously people not being, you know, understanding me, you know, also just to mention, like, sort of education, I wasn't really too much into the type of way they were, the teachers sort of teaching in their way, and yeah, just growing up till I got to the point of college. I took time just to like reevaluate myself, exactly, and you know, decided, you know what, I don't want to be living in this way. I want to do stuff my own way, because that's the better way that I do things. You know, when I follow other people, I usually just fail, but if I do my own thing, I usually succeed in the most way. So yeah,
and I think that's a lot of challenges. I said once again, in this generation, young men, young boys need to understand that it's hard when we grow up. It's hard when we grow up. What kind of system we're brought up in now, it's not going to be the same as when you're getting older and stuff. Things start to get real, and I'm sure Mark Bellot may have, you know, would you say on that?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, it's a similar sort of thing. Is you come up and you're trying to find your path in the world and trying to work out who you want to be. And I think most young people can relate that you're trying to define who you are, but where you fit into the world and your friends and your peers around you as well. And it is a juggling act when you're young to try and work those things out. But it's one of those things you have to go through and get that experience of, and then become more confident in who you are and what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. And those are the things that are going to give you the foundation to move forward in life. And even like you're saying with the school, I had a similar experience where I was very visual and I was very art based, and I didn't always agree with all the ways that I was being taught. But after a while you realise it doesn't have to be a certain way. There are multiple ways of that journey to end at a certain point, and you can take any path to get there. Obviously I say try and get as much education as possible, but it doesn't always have to be the main formal education you get from school, because learning can come in so many different shapes and forms, and there's so many different roles for you in society anyway. It doesn't have to be that set route that some people are trying to feed you.
Exactly, you know what I mean? Like, you know, some people are visual, some people can do the whole textbook and everything, and some people can't. You know, some people are better, you know, just there's always you can learn. There's definitely always you can learn, you know what I mean?
100%.
That was a good question. I think a lot of young people may link with. Another question I want to ask is, obviously you guys are entrepreneurs, have your own businesses, doing it for a few years now. Was it worth taking a risk? Would you say it's worth taking a risk?
Personally, for my personal development and how things work out, yes, 100%. I think I could have stayed in a safe 9-to-5 job and it would have paid my bills and I would have plodded along. But I think a lot of time you want to achieve anything special, you need to come out of your comfort zone and be willing to take that risk and invest in yourself, and just be prepared to build and learn and keep just developing until you can be the best version of yourself you can be. I wouldn't change it for the world. I have no problem with a 9-to-5. I know a lot of people that are still doing it and they're happy with that, and that's cool. But I found that wasn't my truth. And I'm happier when I'm out there sort of creating things, and I'm happy to be in a position to do that now. So for me, 100% worth it.
It's sort of same thing, like same answer. Like, it was definitely worth taking the risk, because for me, I don't really like the idea of someone else has like control of your livelihood. Do you understand? Like, you know, you can be with a boss. Don't, like I said, don't get me wrong, like having a 9 to 5, there's nothing wrong with that. But imagine having like your whole livelihood in control of one person, one manager, and they only have to say 2 words, you're fired or you quit or you're out. And then listen, you can, you know, you can't pay your bills, you know, they don't care if you can't feed your family, or, you know, if you're gonna brink of homelessness. And, you know, that was sort of the thing that just was so scary to me. And that's why I decided, you know what, I need to do something in my control. You understand? If I don't make money today, it's because of me, not because
someone else,
other forces. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely worth taking the risk.
Definitely worth taking the risk.
You know, in the long term, it's definitely gonna benefit you. You know what I'm saying? So.
And it's not always easy, and it is a level of control that you have over that business, because sometimes when you're working for someone else, you're following their vision and their goals, and having to be the person that creates the vision, creates the goals, then goes to chase them. And if you don't achieve it properly, realizing that you have to readjust yourself, it's a humbling experience, because it doesn't always go your way. I worked a 9 to 5 for a very long time before I was comfortable to make that commitment to come across. So I understand both sides of the fence, but for me and my personality and how I work, I wanted more. And so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so basically, as you said, like as they said from themselves, they said, do as you want. Simplify, do as you want. If you feel like 9 to 5 job's your thing, do a 9 to 5 job. If you want to branch out and kind of go in creative kind of way, do a business. And I know a lot of people, especially young people like me, they say, oh, it's too long to create a business. It's too long to do this, that. I'm like, no.
You know what I mean?
Focus on yourself. When you're doing a business, you can focus on yourself as well. I'm sure you guys experienced that you're spending more time with yourself, you're developing yourself in certain ways that you didn't even think you could do, you know what I mean?
I've learned a lot about myself on this journey.
Yeah.
I think everything comes out because when you work for someone else, you can always blame it on someone else, so there's always an excuse. But when you're in control of your own business, it's you.
It's you.
When someone's not happy, it's because something you've done. But on the flip side of that, when someone's happy, it's because of what you've done.
Exactly.
So you get to learn a lot about your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a personal question now, personal development. Bad habits you had to eliminate trying to do personal development. I know this may be personal.
We all have them. We all have them.
To get rid of. But I think the main one that sort of linked with all of them was like just surrounding myself with the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, once you surround yourself with the wrong type of people, wrong type of crowd, then more and more habits, you know, begin to
kind of
get
formulate kind of.
Exactly, you know, for example, you know, I used to, you know, at the time I used to be more of a drinker, you know, and it was only because of, you know, being surrounded by certain people. When I was young, I, you know, used to be, you know, bad, like I'm a very bad person at the time, you know, obviously mistreating, you know, people, my friends, having, you know, fights at times. And it wasn't because of me, it was because of like the people surrounded. Like I think, oh, you know, I need to do this and that to fit in. But, you know, after a while, I decided, you know what, this isn't the path I want to go down. I want to do something more healthier and some, you know, be in a more better mind state, you understand? So, you know, yeah, I just took time just to figure out certain things, you know, and yeah, just try to get out with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of people could probably look at themselves and look at themselves where they're at now. They need to understand the friend group they're around, you know what I mean?
Yeah, similar sort of thing. It's like sometimes when people don't understand what you're trying to do and trying to achieve, or it's not what they would do, they'll try and put you down like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Why don't you just go out and have a drink on the Saturday rather than putting the time in and working? And because that's their truth and that's their reality, they sort of knock you or put you down because you're doing something different, and you're like, oh, you're not quite fitting in, you're not quite doing this. And the bad habits I learned to get rid of was stop putting so much weight in people like that don't really add any value to your life. Because at the end of the day, they're always going to be a barrier, someone doing something, but you need to focus on what you're doing and be comfortable with what you're doing. Another bad habit I had to get rid of is procrastination. We all got the thing.
Everyone goes through it.
Procrastination, man.
There's so many things I didn't like doing. I always put it to the last time. Do it tomorrow, leave it. And I learned that dealing with those problems head on will make you a stronger person in the long run, and those will carry over in different aspects of your life. So when I was procrastinating at work, there might have been things in my personal life that I wasn't handling properly. when I learned how to do that in work and actually overcome that and actually investigate what's the reason that's stopping me to do this and overcome that and put coping mechanisms in place, I then took that I learned into my private life. So as a total person, from what I did at work actually helped me in my private life as well.
And I said what Mark's saying as well. You need to realize that. You need to realize that procrastination it's almost rooted into us. I mean, you kind of have to kind of dig it up and trying to get it out of us. You know what I mean? When I started self-development about 2 years ago, when I was about 13, something like that, all I had was procrastination. You know, if I wanted to do a run or something, if I wanted to do a run, I would always be like, should I do it? Should I go on my X? Nah.
It's that voice.
It's that voice inside your head you need to eliminate. You know what I mean? Nah. Yeah, but no, seriously, procrastination is a serious thing. Thing, and you need to eliminate it as soon as possible. And it's probably one of the hardest things to eliminate. From my experiences. Anyways, we even got a few minutes left, so we'll do 2 more questions, something like that. Things you wish you knew when you were younger. Things you wish you knew when you were younger. So like my age kind of thing, you know.
Just knowing it's a big world, and now with technology and internet, it makes the world a lot smaller. So even if you're, like we were talking about earlier on, not around the people that you want to surround yourself with, you can see out there that there's tons of people on the same wavelength as you, and you're not alone, you're not isolated. So if you do feel like there's no one you can talk to about certain things, there are lots of people that you can actually share your opinions and views with, and they'll probably share your interests. So even though you might think, oh, I'm the geeky kid in the corner, there's a whole internet full of geeky kids in the corner.
So for me, a thing I wish I knew at the time was, you know, I think what I mentioned before was, you know, the different ways of learning, you know, because I never focused in school because, you know, just to even give an example, you know, when I was in media, I did media in college. Like I did the first year and then I dropped out. I only dropped out because the way they were teaching, you know, the sort of textbook, you know, do this assignment, that assignment, it didn't work for me. But I learned better by actually doing my own thing, going out and just practicing, and because I'm more of a practical person, you know, and you know, I wish I would have known these sort of things in when I was doing my, you know, most of my education in general, then, because otherwise I would have, you know, done things a lot more differently than I did do now, you know, and yeah, I just wish, like, you know, someone was there at the time just to teach me these things and say, you know, otherwise I wouldn't have, you know, not messed about too much in school when I was younger. So yeah, definitely.
And I think one thing before ending off this video is one thing you need to kind of realize is that you need to take responsibility for your actions. You need to understand that things you're doing now will subsequently lead up to what you're doing in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? But nah, thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Make sure
Thanks for inviting me.
make sure you hit up McCapture. I'll put it down in the link in the bio. Put it in the on the video now. But thank you for watching.